Hey guys, I'm Yes or No, but you can follow me on Instagram at hypocrite. Wait, what? Yeah, so the other night, Zeman and I were Netflix and chilling, you know, relationship style. You mean you watched 2 movies back to back and fell asleep with your contacts in? Bingo. So one of the movies that we watched was called The American Meme, which, yes, take a second to just appreciate the pun. So punny. Bullet points. This was a documentary about 3 Instagrammers, Brittany Furlan, the Fat Jewish, and Krill, along with the OG influencer, Paris Hilton. No, but to paraphrase Rotten Tomatoes, essentially this was a documentary that dove into the shallow end of social media to discover much deeper truths. And oh boy, did it deliver! So essentially, one of these truths was that behind the large numbers of millions of followers, a lot of these social media influencers are actually quite sad and disconnected. That really hit home. But no, that's actually super interesting because that has been my experience in part when it comes to YouTube, right? Like in the beginning, it was new, exciting, it was like, new Ferrari. Oh, never had one of those, can't relate. You know, in the beginning, my YouTube channel was very new, and it was the first time that in mass amounts I was getting positive feedback. Like, oh my god, Yes or No, you're so smart, you're so beautiful, like, can you donate one of your eggs to me so that my children can be just like you? And that can make you feel really good up until a point. And that point is usually the 100th time somebody says, yes, queen, yes, queen. Right, when you get used to compliments, then even when people are telling you it, you have a hard time believing you're a yes queen unless you yourself really at the core feel it. Right? It's like that Jim Carrey quote where he basically said, I wish everybody could be rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so they would see it's not the answer. I might have messed up a few words here or there, but that's the main point, right? That we're not gonna find our answer through these superficial displays of success. So what is the answer, yes or no? Well, maybe instead of starting with the answer, I'll start with what's not the answer. What's not the answer? So, okay, there's actually a great quote in the documentary that Brittany Furlan says, essentially about herself. She says, do you really want to be posting a picture with your boobs out? But it's like, everyone else is doing it. And that's the thing. Social media is incentivized for what gets clicks, right? So as this market becomes more and more saturated, then people try to be more and more extreme in order to stand out. Case in point, people eating laundry detergent, people setting themselves on fire. I mean, I could go on. People drinking gallons of milk, people doing the cinnamon challenge. There was a freaking, okay, do you guys remember the story of the girl who shot her husband through a dictionary because he's like, yeah, the dictionary will stop the bullet, and she killed him? Like, people are going to extremes to do whatever they can to stand out on these platforms. I could go on. I won't, but I could. Okay, I should. So one example from the movie was this guy named Krill, aka the Slut Whisperer. And you can already tell where this is going. So that's his name on Instagram, and he is famous for giving girls champagne showers at parties and for taking photos of it. Which essentially, when you look at the photos, make it look like the girl has had plastered all over her face. It's like a disgusting optical illusion. Which, I mean, hey, who am I to tell people which direction their moral compass should be pointing? North. But it's like, there was something about the way the girls were begging for Krill to take these photos of them that made it seem like they hadn't deeply analyzed how their actions fit into the greater scheme of women in history. That had me feeling like, wow, I don't really like the direction our generation is headed. D'ya feel? D'ya feel? Instead, what it felt like was that these women, women were so desperate for somebody to make them feel special for 15 seconds that they were willing to take one in the face. Literally. And that, to me, felt really sad and shallow. And there's this whole industry of social media stars that are cropping up that are dedicated to this superficial fame, right? It's actually funny that the word influencer sounds so much like influenza because it spreads just as quickly and can make a whole lot of people sick. Right? There's actually a point in the documentary where that guy from the Britney Spears music video, Toxic, yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, pulling out the big guns. All right, where he says, you go to a school and you ask a whole bunch of kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? They're gonna say famous. Like it's a job. Oh my God, right? And then you have people like freaking Olivia Jade. I mean, you guys have heard about this Operation Varsity Blues scandal, right? You've got these giant YouTubers online saying things like, yeah, I don't really like school. And it works for them. They grow huge. I mean, it might not be working out for her right now, what with the scandal, but you got a lot of impressionable kids hearing that this is an option. You don't need to study. You don't need to be smart. You don't need to think about things in a deeper way because YouTube and Instagram and being a social media influencer is a viable option. Viable. I mean, there are blueprints out there for how to get famous for nothing. Never forget, Kim Kardashian was Paris Hilton's intern. Right, so Paris Hilton laid out this blueprint. Kim Kardashian perfected it. And now we have thousands and thousands of people online trying to do the exact same thing. It is mind-boggling that we have landed ourselves in this situation where our value doesn't come from our talents, it doesn't come from our skills, it doesn't come from the good things that we do for others, it comes from our social validation. Right? You get Instagram models who are getting famous for nothing other than their superficial looks and their amazing smizes. But it's like, whoever has the most subscribers wins. Whoever has the most followers rules. So we have gone from keeping up with the Joneses, which was previous generation's version of success, how many materialistic items do you have, to keeping up with the Kardashians, right? How relevant are you? This is our generation's measure of success. We are becoming an empty generation. What do you stand for most nights? I don't know anymore. Good song, good song. And oh, buddy, you thought this rant was done. We got more, right? And you might be like, yes or no, but Paris Hilton, the fat Jewish, you know, these aren't just influencers. They're creating brands. You know, like Paris Hilton has her own perfume line, right? The fat Jewish, he created White Girl Rosé wine, which is like one of the best-selling producers of rosé in America. What? It's true. We Americans, we love our brands, right? And even myself, I am fighting two contradictory ideas right now, right? The first idea is that people should be free to do whatever they want in life. Whether that's entertainment, creating empty brands, whatever, we need sometimes, as an audience, we need that diversion. We need the hilarity that comes from people doing random things. But the second idea that I'm grappling with is that there's so much mass following of that, right, of empty brands, empty entertainment, that it feels like maybe we're overdoing it, right? And maybe there should be a greater focus on more direct, fulfilling purposes. Or not. You know, who am I? I don't know, just some girl who had an existential crisis during the American meme and said, oh my God, if this is what influencers stand for, then I don't want any part of it. Which actually happened. Right, but now I'm feeling like maybe it's possible to merge the two. Besties. YouTube and standing for a greater good. But at the end of the day, these platforms that we villainize, right, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, at the end of the day, all they are just platforms, right? So they don't have any greater meaning than that which we give them, than the videos and pictures we upload to them. So actually the day after Zewan and I watched the American Meme, we watched my favorite documentary ever, Waiting for Superman, because we needed a palate cleanse. And this documentary is essentially about how K-12 public schools in America are failing our students. Well, that's not a buzzkill at all, is it? Essentially, if you ever have some extra time on your hands, I suggest you watch those 2 documentaries in that order. The American Meme and then Waiting for Superman. And then, when it comes to the topic of what to value, you tell me which one leaves a better taste in your mouth. And I bet you it won't taste like champagne. Hey, no, no, no.